All right, everybody, welcome back. We are diving deep today
Deep.
into how to lead smart people.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's packed with like practical leadership lessons.
Practical, for sure.
Especially if you're working with a team, you're surrounded by brilliant minds.
Yeah.
How do you lead that? This is for you.
Absolutely. It's a different ball game.
Right. And this whole idea that popped out of me was like leading by making others smarter.
Not by being the smartest person in the room.
Not by being the smartest person in the room.
You're not by being the smartest person in the room, right?
Yeah, you don't have to have all the answers.
You don't.
This source is really interesting because it emphasizes moving away from the top down, you're the boss, everything.
No, that old school style.
Yeah, the command and control. It's more about collaboration.
Collaboration.
So important these days.
Fostering an environment where everybody feels valued and like their input is really appreciated.
Okay, so it's more about creating a space where like everyone can contribute their expertise, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just taking orders from the person at the top.
Exactly. Everyone's got something to bring to the table.
They do. And, there's this great example the source gives about this tech company that was just like stuck. They weren't innovating.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
And the CEO was making like all the decisions.
All the decisions.
But then they shifted to this more collaborative approach.
It was just scary for some leaders, I think.
Yeah, giving up that control. But they encouraged even like junior team members to pitch ideas.
And that's when the magic happened.
Boom. Innovation like skyrocketed.
It's amazing what happens when you unleash the collective brain power.
Right. And that brings me to like this other big thing this source talks about, emotional intelligence.
Oh, this is huge, especially when you're leading smart people.
Why is it so important with a team that's already, really smart?
Well, because smart people can also have big emotions.
They can.
It's like you're dealing with a room full of high-powered engines. You got to know how to handle that energy.
So emotional intelligence, it's not just like, being nice, right?
It's about understanding and managing emotions, both yours and the people you're leading. Because, think about it. You've got this team of passionate, high-achieving people. Things can get intense.
Oh, yeah. Pressure, deadlines, strong personalities.
Exactly. And the source talks about this case study, this project leader who was like technically brilliant,
but a disaster with the team.
Totally derailed the project.
All because they couldn't handle the team's frustrations.
Couldn't keep their own cool either.
Okay, so emotional intelligence is like a must-have.
Yeah.
But how do we actually, cultivate this? I mean, it sounds great in theory.
Well, it starts with self-awareness, noticing your own emotional triggers, how you react under stress.
Okay, so paying attention to yourself first.
Exactly, because how you react impacts everyone else. The source actually suggests journaling, even things like mindfulness techniques.
Interesting. So it's like getting to know yourself better.
Yeah, your strengths, your weaknesses,
Yeah.
your emotional patterns.
Makes sense. But even with, all the emotional intelligence in the world, you still need to communicate, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's leadership 101, isn't it?
You can be the most empathetic person, but if you can't articulate your vision, set clear expectations.
It's going to fall apart.
It will.
So communication is like the bridge, right?
It's everything. The source is really big on crystal clear communication, making sure everyone understands their role and how it fits into the bigger picture.
Like no one's left wondering, what am I supposed to be doing?
Exactly.
Got it. And another thing that really resonated with me from the source was this idea of leading by example.
Well, the walk, not just talk the talk.
Yes. Actions speak louder than words.
It's about integrity, right? You can't say one thing and do another. Especially with smart people, they'll see right through that.
Oh, they're sharp.
The source had this great anecdote about a leader who consistently went above and beyond, never asked their team to do something they wouldn't do themselves.
Inspiring.
Oh,
It makes you want to work harder. And you know what else makes people want to work harder?
What's that?
Learning. Growing.
Oh, absolutely. Continuous learning. Can't emphasize that enough.
The source really dives into that. And it makes sense. We're all knowledge junkies here.
We are.
But it's not just about our own learning, right? It's about making sure our teams are constantly growing too.
Yeah, giving them opportunities to develop new skills, expand their knowledge. The world is changing so fast, you got to stay ahead of the curve.
So as leaders, we need to create that environment where learning is encouraged.
A learning ecosystem.
I love that. What are some ways to do that? The source mentions a few.
They talk about offering professional development opportunities, mentoring programs, even just fostering a culture where people feel comfortable asking questions.
Like no dumb questions allowed. Everyone's learning from each other.
Exactly. And, one leader they interviewed actually instituted a failure of the month.
Walter Award.
Yeah, to encourage risk-taking.
That is so cool. Okay, we've covered collaboration, emotional intelligence, communication, leading by example, continuous learning. Anything else?
Let me think. Oh, yes. This is a big one. Positive team culture.
Yes, this is one of my favorites.
Because it's so foundational, right? The source really emphasizes the link between a positive team culture and engagement and productivity.
People need to feel good to do good work, right?
Absolutely. But it's not just about free snacks and ping pong tables.
Oh, it's deeper than that.
It's about feeling safe to share ideas, to take risks,
Hey, be yourself.
and to learn from mistakes. That psychological safety is so important.
Okay, but how do we actually, create that kind of culture?
Well, the source offers some practical tips. Regular team building activities. Celebrating successes.
And soliciting feedback.
Yes, make sure people feel heard.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Collaboration, emotional intelligence, communication, walking the walk, fostering learning, building a positive team culture.
It's a lot, but it all ties together.
It does. And the source wraps up with this really interesting concept, adaptable leadership.
Because there's no one-size-fits-all.
Right. So sometimes you got to be more directive, other times more hands-off.
Depends on the situation, the team, the project. It's about being attuned to what's needed in the moment. The source actually compares it to a jazz musician. You got to know the basics, but you also got to be able to improvise.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Mm.
Like leading smart people is like conducting a jazz band.
In a way, yeah. You set the tempo, but you also give people the freedom to shine.
And that brings us back to this idea of making others smarter.
It's not about being the smartest person in the room.
It's about empowering everyone to be their best.
Exactly.
So much great stuff in this source.
A lot to chew on.
It really makes you think about your own leadership style.
And how you can create an environment where your team can thrive.
Exactly. So as you go forward, ask yourself, how can I make my team smarter? How can I apply these lessons to become a better leader?
Great questions to ponder.
And until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep making each other smarter.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.